So I don't think there's any connect between CAS and Ind AS. So there's no point in making a video for it. Will this be uploaded on YouTube? Diganta, I'm not sure about it because this session has been organized by CA Club India. So I think it will be uploaded, but it's better if you stay live over here because I'll be taking live questions from all of you after the session. So it's better to be live over here. If it is uploaded on YouTube, then nothing like it. You can watch it again.
So can everyone hear me? Sorry to cut you, sir, in between. We'll start this session. Okay. So let me just introduce myself. I'm Chaitanya Jain from CA Club India. I am the brand solution manager at CA Club India. So today we have with us a new session, a new webinar with Mr. Nikhil Gupta, sir. So just as he does not need any introduction, but we'll still brief a little bit about him. So he has done his CA, CS and CMA. He's a renowned faculty for CMA Inter and CA Final for over 8 years of experience. He teaches audit paper 12B to CMA Inter students, cost and management audit 19 paper, and SPM BBM paper 20 to CMA final student. He has also a vast practical experience of working with Big Fours, financial consulting organizations like KPMG and Deloitte over a decade. He has been involved in providing audit and advisory services to several MNCs across India. So his unique style of combining theoretical knowledge with the practical insights into the industrial practices, and these practices are very popular among students. So as you can see his energy, and he's also been featured on Josh Talks. So we have sir with us. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much, Chaitanya. Thank you so much. So, okay, guys, today's session is really an interesting one and a topic which is much coveted topic. Trust me, this topic is actually discussed in the industry as well. So all the big CFOs of big companies are struggling through this topic as of now and are really on their toes to understand this particular topic. So before I start this particular topic, please give me a confirmation. Can you see the PDF on your screen, which is titled as Companies Cost Records and Audit Rules 2014? Can you see this PDF? No? Okay, Chaitanya, request you to share my screen on the screen.
There's a share icon in on your screen. If you can try sharing it.
Waited. Now, can you guys see my screen
Yes,
on your?
I can.
Perfect. Great. Okay, guys. So today's session is wholly and solely dedicated to our very own CMA profession. And one critical fact about our CMA profession is that, guys, we have got a monopoly for the rules. A monopoly in the sense we are the only professionals in the country who are allowed to do cost audit. And cost audit germinates from the Companies Act 2013. And it germinates from basically two sections. Section number 148, subsection 1, 148, subsection 2, other two spinal cord sections, the mother and father sections audit. And these two sections are the much important and the parents of our cost audit. So guys, these two sections have prescribed rules, which are Companies Cost Records and Audit Rules 2014. And first of all, most of the students are confused, sir, as to these rules amended till what date will be coming in our examination. Guys, please get it right that these rules amended up to 2019 will be appearing in your examination. So one student says that my voice is not clear. Is my voice not clear? Can you write a yes or a no? Is my voice not clear to you? Clear? Okay. All right. So these rules are very, very important rules, guys. From a profession perspective, these rules would give you, if you are a CMA student, whether you are in inter, whether you are in final, or whichever level you are at, these rules are going to give you an insight on the exclusivity which CMA profession has. They are going to put you an edge apart, an edge above, a notch above amongst the entire group of professionals who are there in the industry. And trust me, whenever I have a word with any of the CFOs of the company or the costing managers of the company, who some of them happens to be my students also, guys, they are always a lookout on whether these rules are applicable on their company, on their product or not. That is the importance of these rules which we are going to take up today. And please remember that rules updated till 2019 will be eligible for your December 2020 attempt and onward attempts. So June 21, December 21, December 20, all these attempts will be done with these rules, which are amended till 2019 rules, amendments till 2019. And all those amendments I have covered in this particular session. I'm going to specifically point out two special amendments which have come by in these rules, which have expanded the scope of the rules like never before. So I'm specifically going to cover those two amendments. Rest all the amendments are basic, and in the course of the session, I'm going to cover those amendments. And Chaitanya ma'am, soon as 1 hour is over, please give a heads up to us, because both me and my students will be so much engrossed in the rules that we might lose track of time. So it's your responsibility to cut us off, because then we will till the entire night or so. Okay.
Sir, just one thing, if you can just enlarge the screen a little bit so that we can see just the PDF only. If you can close all the tabs which are there. Also, I would request everyone to put in their questions in the chat box. We'll be taking all the questions at the end of the session. So once sir, I think it's okay now.
Okay, this is the maximum that I could have done.
That we can go. Okay. So we'll take all the questions at the end of this session. You can put your questions in the chat box below. And if you have any queries, for the people who are asking about the video, yes, this video will go, we are live on Facebook on CA Club India's page and Nikhil sir's page as well. Also, this video will be available on our YouTube channel for your reference. We would request sir to provide this PDF for our students, and we'll be sharing this PDF with all the students for the reference. Thank you. So you can continue. Thank you.
Great. Okay. So guys, these are the rules. These are the company's cost records and audit rules 2014. What are they concerned with? For the inter students who have just joined inter and joined this much coveted, much highly regarded profession, which is the CMA profession. Guys, these rules provides the fundamental basis of cost audit. Auditing your cost records, auditing your cost accounts is done using these rules, the company's cost record and audit rules 2014, and they are the starting point of cost audit of any big organization. Guys, as you are aware, there are many kind of audits, like statutory audit, which is done by chartered accountants, secretarial audit, which are done by company secretaries. Just like that, we have cost audit, which is done exclusively by CMA's cost and management accountants. And the germination of that cost audit, the advent of that cost audit is from these particular rules. So we are going to really brush upon these rules quickly in 1 hour, because we just have 1 hour. So this is going to be a quick session. So guys, we'll start the company's cost records and audit rules 2014. Okay, now let me tell you one basic difference between statutory audit and cost audit to start with. Guys, statutory audit is applicable on all the companies, irrespective of their turnover, irrespective of their size, irrespective of the product which they make, irrespective of their turnover, irrespective of their share capital. They are actually falling under category of statutory audit, and statutory audit do not make any discrimination between two companies. But in the wisdom of MCA, Ministry of Corporate Affairs, they have excluded certain category of people from cost audit, and they have included only a fixed number of companies in purview of the cost audit. So cost audit is not applicable on the entire gamut of companies who are registered under the Companies Act, but cost audit is only and only applicable for those companies which have been prescribed under the sections for getting their cost audit done. So guys, a preliminary question. What would we do audit for? Audit is to be done for something. What is that thing for which we will do audit? So my question to you, and your hand should be on your keyboard, because I'll be keeping your hands very working in a very working and a functional manner, guys. Your hands will not be free. So I want one word answer in your chat box, that if I'm talking about financial audit, then what should be prepared for getting the financial audit done? What should be prepared? I want one word answer in your chat box. I want to see chats. Okay. What should be prepared if you want to get financial audit done? What should be prepared? Absolutely, books of accounts, balance sheet, cash flow statement, financial account. Absolutely, guys, you are absolutely right. For getting financial audit done, for getting statutory audit done, books of statements, financial statements are essential things. Now, my second question to you, which is related to the first question, guys, for getting cost audit done, what should be prepared? What should be that the basic thing which is required to get your cost audit done? What should be that thing? Okay, cost records, cost sheet. Absolutely. Why are we doing this session, guys? You know everything in advance. You already know so many things. It's only certain old students of mine who do not know a lot of things. So Shlok is in the chat box, but he's not responding. I guess he is not revised cost audit. Nonetheless, you are absolutely right. Cost records are the mandatory things which are required to be made to actually enable cost audit to be done. And guys, for making cost records, first we need to actually ask our companies to prepare cost records. If they are eligible to prepare the cost records, only then we can enforce cost audit on all of them. So cost records are the fundamental things which a company should mandatorily make to get their cost audit done. Okay, now the question is, sir, who are the companies who will prepare their cost records? Let's read rule number 3, which is related to cost records, application of cost records. Okay, let's read rule number 3, and I hope you guys will read along with me. Any company, the rule says any company, including a foreign company means a company which has not been registered under the Indian Companies Act. It has been registered in some other act. But sir, if it is registered under some other act, how is it working in India? How is it that it is functional in India? Guys, Companies Act or RBI permits 3 forms. Okay, Shlok is live now. Shlok, how can a foreign company work in India without getting itself registered under Indian Companies Act? My question is, how can a foreign company work in India without getting itself registered under the Indian Companies Act? What are those 3 forms by which a foreign company can work in India? I want answers in chat box, and my eyes stick to the chat box. 3 ways in which a foreign company can work in India without getting itself registered under the Companies Act 2013. 3 forms. P is an income tax concept, Rakesh. P, you mean permanent establishment, I'm assuming. It is an income tax concept. It is not a Companies Act concept. Liaison office. Absolutely. Dilip, hats off to you, Dilip. Very good. Dilip gave the first right answer. Liaison office. Second right answer. I'm looking for the second right answer. Branch office. Deena Dayalan. Branch office. Diganta, cinematography. Diganta, you are much into Bollywood, huh? What is cinematography? Okay. 2 answers I've got, branch office and liaison office. What is the third answer? What is the third answer? Third way in which there's nothing called passport office. No, but you are very close. Third answer in which a foreign company can work in India without getting itself registered through the Companies Act. No, online mode is not a mode, because that mode is available to everyone. So online is not a embassy, no. E-commerce, no. Aggregator, no. No, I'm not getting the third form. Insurance company, no. Partnership, no. Casual person, no. Wrong answer. I just want a third way in which a company can open its office in India without getting itself registered under the Indian Companies Act. And I guess no one has got that answer. No, by representative. No. Representative can happen with anyone. So the third answer is project office, license office, branch office, project office. These are the three ways in which a foreign company can work in India, establish its office in India without getting itself registered under Companies Act 2013. So guys, this section is very large in scope. Sorry, this rule is quite large in scope, in the sense it covers all the foreign companies who are working in India, who are engaged mean they are doing this kind of business. What are they doing? Either they are engaged in production of goods or they are engaged in providing services. So any one of the two things can be relevant. Either they are engaged in providing goods or they are engaged in providing services. So if they are under production of goods, if they are producing certain goods, then they will be eligible to be keeping their books of accounts, their cost records. And if they are providing services, then they should prepare their cost records. Of course, there are monetary limits, which we are going to study in the future. But my first question to you is, can a retailer, a person who's just buying from the wholesale company and selling it to the end customer, a retailer, be asked to prepare its cost records under Rule 3? Yes or no? I want one word answer. Yes or no? Retailer. Perfect fit, guys. Absolutely right. No, a retailer cannot be asked, cannot be forced. So moto he can do by himself. But by himself, he can do whatever he wants to do. But law cannot enforce a retailer in preparing cost records under Rule 3, because Rule 3 talks only about two things: production of goods and provision of services. So if these things are done by a person, then only can he be eligible to be falling under the category of Rule 3, which is preparation of cost records. And guys, these three are essential. But guys, I will show you one exception to this rule. This is a general rule. I will show you one exception to the rule after we move on to our further part of the chapter. Okay, let's move on. So a person who's engaged in production of goods, providing of services specified in table below shall be required to prepare cost records. So a person who's specified products who are specified in the table below, we are just reading the table. So person who is specified in the tables below, he shall be eligible to prepare his cost records. What is written in the table below? Let's see what is written in the table below. For such products or services in their books of accounts. Okay, so guys, there are two category of people who need to prepare their cost records. Category number 1, regulated sector. Category number 2, unregulated sector. So only those people who are, number 1, engaged in production or provision of services, production of goods and provision of services, and B, who are covered under these two tables, are required to prepare their cost records. No one else in the world, no one else is permitted to, is supposed to, or is mandatorily required to prepare its cost records. Only two kind of people: one, who are providing goods, providing services, or producing goods, and number 2, who are providing such goods and services which are specified in these two tables. So let me briefly scan through these two tables, guys. So table number 1, which is the regulated sector, which contains 6 industries: telecommunication services, transmission, reception, signs, signal, writing images, sounds, or intelligence of any nature, broadcasting services, etc. So guys, if you pass on any image, if you pass on any sound, if you pass on any kind of intelligence, then all those services will be covered under the telecommunication services. Now I'm just thinking, would WhatsApp be included in this particular category? Yes or no? WhatsApp, I want a yes or no. You use WhatsApp day in, day out. Would WhatsApp be covered under this category? Because remember, it says transmission or reception of signs, signals, writing, images, sounds. Do you transfer sounds through WhatsApp? Do you transfer images through WhatsApp? Do you transfer writing through WhatsApp? So yes, most likely WhatsApp will be covered under this category. Question number 2. Guys, would Instagram be covered under this category? Instagram. Yes. Even in my view, Instagram would be covered under this category because it also contains images. My question number 3. Would Telegram be included in it? Would Telegram be included in it? Telegram. Yes, Telegram will be included in it. Yes, Telegram should be included in it because Telegram also remits what? It remits writing, it remits signs, it remits signals, it remits sounds, it remits all those things. So yes, that will also. Snapchat, Harish uses Snapchat, I think a lot. Neha Sarda, yes, for that matter, all social media which allows you to remit, all these things are covered under this category of telecommunication services. So it's quite huge, quite wide, which is regulated by TRAI. Then generation, transmission, distribution, and supply of electricity. So if you generate, transmit, distribute, or supply electricity, if you do any part of the electricity generation, electricity transmission, electricity distribution, supply of electricity, any of these things. So there are 4 words which you have to learn by heart: generation, transmission, distribution, supply. These 4 words are to be learned by heart. Electricity, all these 4 things will be covered under the rules. Cost records will be categorized over there. So Lokesh, whether it's regulated or it's unregulated, the prime condition is that all these things which we have just talked about, most of them are regulated. But even if they are not regulated, then also they will be covered under the rules because it is coming under this particular category. So if they are not regulated by this authority, they might be regulated by some other authority. Even if they are not regulated, if they are appearing over here, then they are covered under the rules. Then generation, transmission, distribution of electricity is covered under the rules. Petroleum products, anything which is related to petroleum. So petroleum has a lot of sub categories, a lot of joint products to its consumption. Byproducts are produced using petroleum. All those things, guys, will be covered under these rules. So all the petroleum products will be covered under these rules. Petroleum Natural Gas Regulatory Board is the authority which is actually monitoring the coverage of this particular category. Then drugs and pharmaceuticals, any kind of drugs and pharmaceuticals. No. These are not those drugs which these days news channels are filled with those drugs. No, not those drugs. Nalayak, all of you are nalayak. These drugs are the chemical drugs, the medicines, the drugs which are used in pharma sector, the drugs which are used for producing medicines. All those drugs are being talked about over here. And yes, drugs and pharmaceuticals. Fertilizers come under this purview. Sugar and industrial alcohol, which will come under this purview. So these are the 6 regulated sectors which will come under the purview of the rules. Now we come on to the unregulated sector, guys. Now unregulated sector is also huge, its coverage is also huge. So I am not reading all of them because it will take a lot of time to read all of them. So you can just glance through these PDF will be made available to you, so you can read over there. So these are the products which are included in the unregulated sector. Tanks, port services. Okay, I will halt on point number 7, port services. So as you are aware, production of goods and provision of services, both are actually featured under the cost records, and both of them are eligible to prepare cost records. So guys, one service is port service. Now please understand what do you mean by port. Port is that particular area around the periphery of India where ships are halted, they are anchored, and the products which are there in the ship are unloaded and loaded. This is the port services. So on the port, there are several kinds of services like parking service, mooring, hauling, pilotage, stevedoring, which is unloading and offloading and uploading. All these things are covered under the port services. Now guys, I was talking about the major amendment in 2019 rules, and the major amendment in 2019 rules, one word has been changed in these services. As you can see on your screen, by has been replaced with for. By has been replaced with for. Only one word change, but it has changed the entire gamut of port services which are eligible for cost records applicability. How, sir? How can one word change the entire gamut of the services which are given, which are eligible for cost records? Guys, one word can change definitely your entire rules interpretation. Let's read how that one word has changed everything for us in 2019 amendment, the latest amendments which are there. This word has changed everything. So it says port services rendered by a port has been changed to port services rendered for a port. Rendered by a port has been changed to rendered for a port. Now you need to tell me on the chat box, your fingers on your keyboard, guys, has this widened the scope of port services or has it narrowed the scope of port services? Just one word answer, widened or narrowed. You can write W or N, W or N, W or N. मैं नहीं खेल रहा यार. This is cheating. This is cheating. Everyone is giving the right answer. If you guys give the right answer, then what am I here for? Absolutely right. Guys, this has widened the scope of cost records. How has it widened the scope of cost records? So earlier, only those services which were rendered by the port, which means the services which were rendered by the port itself. So if it's a Vishakhapatnam port, then the port authorities would render certain services and balance services will be provided by private authorities, by private companies. So some services provided by the port authority, some services provided by the private authorities. Only those services which are provided by the port authorities were eligible to be covered under this number 7. But now the services which are provided by the port authorities plus the services which are provided by the private players, both those services are attached to be covered under these particular rules. I'll give you an example. Ship comes at the port, you require unloading services. There should be some person, a crane is required because you cannot ask your people to go over there, put the heavy boxes on their head and give it to you. It doesn't happen that way. You need cranes, solid cranes. Cranes will pull the boxes from the ship and they will unload the material which is in the ship. So guys, earlier only the services, the crane services which were provided by the port were eligible for this particular category of service. But now even the services which are provided by private people means if say any private limited company is into services of cranes and they provide services of crane at Vishakhapatnam port, they will also be governed under these rules. So yes, just one word change and the entire services has changed and the entire scope of services has changed. It has enhanced in a very big way. So similar change has happened in point number 8 as well, guys. Aeronautical services, which is air traffic management services. So if you would have gone on some airport, there you would have seen some tower kind of a structure from which air traffic management services are rendered. Guys, over there also by has been replaced by at the, so that not only the services which are provided by the airport, but also the services which are provided by private players. Yes, radar services. Lokesh, you are absolutely right. The radar services are also covered under these services. So by has been replaced by at. Okay, sir. So this was one major change which I was talking about. So iron and steel, then roads and other infrastructure, bridges, district roads, all these things are covered under the category of rules. Construction and maintenance and above the project are covered under these rules. All the activities, construction and maintenance of all the above projects, road and in other infrastructure projects, everything is covered under these rules, guys. Then rubber, coffee, railway, tram, locomotives, cement, ore, mineral fuel, inorganic chemical, jute, edible oil. Now, one very interesting thing is 21, construction industry. Sir, when there is already a head known as roads and other infrastructure project, when there is already a head known as other infrastructure projects, why is the head construction industry called for? Why a separate head for construction industry? Now guys, I'll tell you a separate story behind this infusion of construction industry. So guys, many of the big players, the construction players. So I hope you understand the difference between infrastructure and construction. So infrastructure means the companies who are primarily engaged in providing services like road construction service, like bridge, tramways, locomotive, big infrastructure development. Metro, Delhi Metro is a very big example of infrastructure. That is all is covered under infrastructure. But yes, the clause was wide enough to even incorporate the construction, which means residential houses, commercial complexes, malls, TV, cinema halls, everything. The head was quite wide. But you know what? Very intelligently, certain construction industries, like the big construction industries which you have heard of, like who are in the business of constructing houses, residential houses, parks, every such normal thing, they took a stand. We are not covered under these rules. So to counter their stand, there is a specific category which was introduced, which was construction industry. And guys, it covers industrial, commercial, and social development, maintenance, real estate development, including industrial park, special economic zones, contractors, as well as subcontractors. This is a very important two words which are inserted in clause 21. Guys, contractors as well as subcontractors are included in this construction industry category. So even if you are the main person like DLF who is actually constructing the building, or you are a subcontractor of DLF, you will be covered under these rules. Both are covered under these rules. Okay, my favorite category, and all the girls who are viewing this particular session, a very exciting clause for all the girls also. So I'm very sure that while these rules were being drafted, there was definitely one female member in the committee for sure. That is why the female member has given favor to all the girls who are watching this particular session. What is the big favor which has been given to the girls? Let's see what is the big favor which has been given to the girls. Health services are included in cost records. If health services are included in cost records, definitely all the hospitals, diagnostic centers, clinical centers, test laboratories are included in this health service. There are two exclusions to it. Number one, companies running hospitals exclusively for own employees. If the hospital is made only for own employee, then it is exempt from this particular category. And exclusion number two, and girls should market using a highlighter. Companies engaged in running of beauty parlors and beauty treatment are exempt from this particular category. Wow, what a big relief for all the girls. And now, undoubtedly, if you run beauty parlors or if you are planning to explore your future, obviously after doing CMA, not before doing CMA, if you're going to explore your future in beauty treatment or beauty parlors, then you will be exempted from these particular rules. So these are the two exceptions to this particular services, which is health services. Then guys, education services are included. Exclusion to exclusion education services is auxiliary services that are provided to the educational institute, like transportation. Transportation will not be included in this education service. Security cleaning, catering service. So like we have midday meal scheme in India. Midday meal scheme, the person who's running midday meal scheme for the educational institute, guys, they will not be eligible for, they will not be required to prepare their cost records. Yes, sir. Then milk powder, insecticides, plastics, tires, pulp. Guys, this is one major amendment which has been done by 2019 rules. Earlier, there was only paper which was included in this particular rules. And now even the pulp, the raw form of paper, is also included in these rules. Textile, glass, free services of meals are included. No, Neha, free services of meal to the school are not included. School means education department or education services. So schools and colleges are providing education services. If schools also give food to their people, if school provides catering and cafeteria services, not covered. Insurance services not covered. Insurance services not covered under these rules. Glass, other machinery, electric or electronic machinery. Now comes a category which I was telling you that I'll be discussing in detail going forward. Please highlight this category, the only one and only category which will permit you to include trading services in cost record and rules. Although Rule 3 is against this fact, although 148 is against this fact, okay, Starbucks inside college not eligible for rules. Obviously, Starbucks is providing you coffee, and that will not be eligible for the cost records. Okay. Although 148 is only talking about production and provision of services. Rule 3 talking only about production of goods and provision of services. But 33 talks about import, supply, or trading. Trading. Now the big question is, can rules override act? The big question is, can rules override the main section? The main section is 148, Companies Act 2013. Can rules override? Override means state something contrary to the section. Yes or no? Can rules state something contrary to the main section? Rules is a subordinate legislature. Remember, rules is a subordinate legislature. So can rules state something which is contrary or which is overriding the main section? Can this happen as per law, as per the provisions of the law, the general principles of law? Yes, majority of you are saying no, 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 no. Can be challenged, Rakesh Patra. Yes. Okay. So guys, yes, the general rule is that rules cannot override act. Rules is subordinate to act. So if something is written in act, that will always override the rules. Rules cannot contradict the act. Like you have income tax rules 2000. If beauty parlor services like plastic surgery, okay, Shivam Sultania is very tense about plastic surgery services. Yes, Shivam, even plastic surgery services will not be eligible for under these rules, because plastic surgery comes under the category of beautification, because it says beauty parlor, and one more word it uses two words, beauty parlor and beauty treatment. So plastic surgery comes under beauty treatment. Now please don't ask me what are the other type of beauty treatments which are coming under these categories. I don't know. I'm not aware about any other beauty treatment. So coming back to point number 33. So yes, the general principle is that your rules cannot override the act. Rules are subordinate to the act. When rules are subordinate to the act, they cannot override the act. If they cannot override the act, guys, then definitely there is a question mark of whether this is eligible, valid under law or not. So this is a question mark which even I am not fully confident about. I don't know the answer to this particular question, whether this can be challenged in court or not. I'm not aware about it. But yes, as of now, trading is included under clause 33 of the rule 3. And trading of what? Of not everything, but of medical devices only, like cardiac stents. Cardiac stents are walls which are used in heart surgery. So you put some walls in heart surgery, cardiac stents, drug eluting stents, etc., etc., etc. So these are the different equipments which are eligible to be covered, even if they are being traded. Even trading is eligible to be governed by Rule 3. Now the question is, what is the turnover? Guys, the turnover is if the turnover of the company from all the products is 35 crores or more. So guys, I am preparing two products. Product number 1, not covered under table A or B. Product number 2, covered under table A or B. Now I'll ask you a simple question. You have to write your answer in yes or no. Okay, only two answers, yes or no. My product, which is not covered under table A and B, is fetching me 34 crores of revenue. My product, which is covered under cost rules, my product, which is covered under cost audit, cost records, table A and B, that is fetching me 2 crores. 34 crore from the product which is not covered under table A and B. 2 crores from the product which is covered under table A and B. Total turnover of the company, 36 crores. Total turnover of the company, 36 crores. Will I be eligible to prepare cost records? Yes or no? Yes or no? No, 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 no. Yes, yes, yes. No, okay. So there's a mixed house. Mixed house. Some people are saying no, some people are saying yes. I'll repeat the question once more. The question is, product which is not covered under table A and B, it is fetching me 34 crores. Product which is covered under A and B, fetching me only 2 crores. Total 36 crores. Am I eligible for cost records or not? Should I prepare cost records or not? Answer is yes. I am eligible for preparing the cost records. Please read carefully. Monetary threshold for applicability of Rule 3. Answer is yes. On table A and B as well as B product is that the overall turnover of the company from all the products means whether they are covered under table A or B, doesn't matter. I'm not bothered about it. Whether it is covered under A or B, doesn't matter. If all the products and services revenue is above 35 crores of the immediately preceding year, the revenue is 35 crore or more from all the products, I will be eligible to prepare my cost records. So I prepared two products, product X. X not covered under table A and B, 34 crores. Y covered under table A and B, 2 crores, total 36 crores. Yes, I will be eligible to prepare my cost records because overall turnover of the company is 35 crores or more. Now, my question number 2, whether cost records will be prepared for product X or product Y. Think through it and answer properly. Think through it. Whether the cost records will be made for product X or product Y or both product X and Y. X, Y or both product X and Y. So you have three options: X, Y, both product X and Y. What is your answer? Only X. X is not covered under A and B. X is not covered under A and B. Y is covered under A and B. Only X, only Y, or both A and Y. Okay, Aman Seni. Aman Seni is an inter, but he understands the rules, which is very advanced rules so well. Aman, congratulations. Aman's answer is right. Who else answers right? Many students. Okay, someone says both. Lokesh, only specified. Perfect, Lokesh. So the correct answer is only product Y will be eligible for preparation of cost records. Guys, both will not be eligible for preparation of cost records. Why I'm stating this is, let's come on to the basics of the rule. It says, any company, let me erase it so that you can see it properly. Any company, including foreign company engaged in production of goods and services specified in table, shall be required to prepare cost records for such products or services. Please underline this portion. It is only for goods which are specified under table A and B. If it is not specified under table A and B, then you are not required to prepare your cost records at all. So only product Y will be eligible for preparation of cost records. Product X, you are not required to prepare cost records. You can do it by your own, not mandatory by law. Only product Y will be eligible for preparation of cost records. So cost records turnover is 35 crores of the immediately preceding year. If the preceding year's turnover crosses 35 crore, then you are required to prepare your cost records. In my example, only product Y will be eligible for preparation of cost records. Okay, sir. Now let's come on to applicability of cost audit. Naturally, now we have prepared cost records. Now we need to see what all products should be eligible for cost audit. How many products are eligible for cost audit? There is separate rule for that particular part. It says rule number 4, and I'm ignoring the theoretical part because it is a little lengthy one. I am directly coming on to this table where in very short I'll be able to explain you the monetary limits. So just look at these monetary limits very, very closely, guys. For cost records, I've already discussed the monetary limits, 35 crores of the entire company, all the products taken together. Now come on to cost audit. Cost audit will be eligible to be prepared for product category A, table A. Cost audit will be applicable only if both these conditions are cumulatively satisfied, because there's an and means plus. Plus means this condition should also be satisfied and this condition should also be satisfied. All these conditions, when satisfied together, they will be eligible for getting their cost audit done. So condition number 1 is overall annual turnover of the company from all the products and services must be rupees 50 crores or more. So all the products should fetch you rupees 50 crores or more. This is condition number 1. In my case, all the products is fetching me 36 crores. All the products is fetching me 36 crores. So I am not eligible for cost audit in my case. But if your company has 50 crores of turnover from all the products, then it will be eligible for cost audit. So condition number one, overall annual turnover of the company of products and services is above 50 crores, then you will be eligible for cost audit. And one more condition. Now read this condition very, very carefully. Aggregate turnover of individual products and services for which cost records are prescribed under Rule 3, that turnover should be 25 crores or more. Aggregate turnover of all the individual products for which cost records are prescribed under Rule 3, that should be 25 crores or more. Hear out my example very, very clearly. I am producing 3 products, X, Y, Z. X, Y, Z. X, not eligible for table A, not eligible for table B, not appearing in table A or B. X, some other product. Y, table A product. B, Z, table B product. Y, table A product. Z, table B product. A and B product. And this one is X, not appearing in table A and B. Now I'm telling you the turnover. Write it down somewhere if you have a notepad along with you, or memorize it in your head. 34 crores. 34 crores. Table A product. Table A product. 15 crores. 34 crores. 15 crores. 16 crores. 34 crores. 15 crores. 16 crores. 34 crores. 15 crores. 16 crores. Table X. Y. Product Y. Product Z. Product Y eligible for table A. Product B eligible for table B. Product Z eligible for table B. 34, 15, 16. This is the turnover. My first question, whether this company is eligible for cost records, yes or no? Whether this company is eligible for cost records, yes or no? Cost records, table 3, rule 3, rule 3. Cost records, yes. Answer is yes. Why yes? Because accumulation of all 3 is above 35 crores. If accumulation of all 3 is above 35 crores, then it will be eligible for cost records. Yes, cost records, yes. Now the next question, hear this out very, very carefully. Table A, which is product X, product Y. Table A, product Y. Whether I will do audit of product Y or not. Whether I will do audit of product Y or not. Let's see the condition. Condition is overall turnover of the company should be 50 crore or more. Overall turnover of the company should be 50 crore or more. Please accumulate these 3. Sir, accumulation is 34 plus 15, 49, 34 plus 15, 49, 49 plus 16, 49 plus 16, 59, 59 plus 6, 65, 34, 15, 16, 34, 15, 16, total 65. Tell me, is this condition met? Is the first condition met? Answer a yes or no. Is the first condition met? Please answer me, guys. Yes, the first condition is met. Very much met. It's above 50 crores. Now comes the testing point, and this is the testing point for all of you. Is this condition met? Is this condition met? Because both of the conditions are to be met cumulatively. If any one of the condition is not met, then you will not be eligible for cost audit of product Y. You will not be eligible for cost audit of product Y. Is this condition met? Is the second condition met? Okay, many people are saying yes. Some of them are saying no. Lokesh says no. Ramya says no. Sai Nunna says no. Kumar Biplav. What is the answer of Mr. Saini? Saini. Is the second condition met? My question is very careful answer. Shubham says big no. Okay, Saini Saab says no. Saini Saab mat kha gaye yahan par. Is the second condition met? My question is the second condition met? Guys, Please hear me out carefully. The second condition is met. It's a big yes. Why is it a big yes? Product Y has a turnover of 14 crores. Undoubtedly, less than 25 crores. But product Y and product Z together will make 30 crores, which is above 25 crores. Product Y individually is what? Product Y individually is 15 crores. Product Z individually 16 crores. Both of them taken together 31 crores, which is definitely above 25 crores. Now the question is whether we should take 15 crores individually or should we take 31 crores. 16 crore plus 15 crore is 31 crore, which is about 25 crores. Let's read the language once again carefully. Please read it with me carefully, word by word, one word by one word. Just read it to me carefully. Aggregate turnover of the individual products. Aggregate turnover of the individual products for which cost records are prescribed under Rule 3. It doesn't say whether to take table A product or table B product. It doesn't say that. It says for all the products for which cost records are applicable under table 3. And guys, Rule 3 contains table A as well as table B. So the second limb will be taken as a consolidate of product Y and product Z. You are right. Eligibility is being tested only for table A product. You are absolutely right about it. Eligibility is being tested for product A only. Eligibility is not being tested for product Z. You are absolutely right. But while checking the eligibility, the total of product X, product Z and product Y will be taken together because the language says aggregate turnover of the individual products for which cost records are prescribed under Rule 3. Cost records are prescribed for both table A and table B. So maximum students fault at this particular place. And guys, it is not your problem. Trust me, when this rule was inserted for the very first time, even big cost accountants, big practicing cost accountants were confused. And ministry has to put up an FAQ regarding this particular point to clarify their point. So they had to produce a FAQ. Okay, coming on to the next rule, the next part of the rule, table B. Table B category goods, overall turnover should be 100 crores or more. This is the non-regulated sector, guys. This is the non-regulated sector. So the limit is quite high. 100 crores is quite high a limit. So non-regulated sector, table B. 100 crores is the overall turnover of the company. Again, same clause. Aggregate turnover of individual products or services for which cost records are prescribed under Rule 3. Please tell me whether you will take both A plus B turnover or you will take only B turnover. A plus B or only B? Aman Saini is absolutely right. A plus B. Sir, unless until we do a practical question of this particular concept, we will not be able to understand the concept. Okay, guys, let's do a practical question and we will start case by case. And definitely CA Club India has some goodies for all of you. Those who are going to give correct answers, there'll be some goodies for from CA Club India. So get ready for receiving your goodies, guys. 5 cases. I want 5 answers and we'll take one by one every case and you will tell me whether cost records will be applicable or not, whether cost audit will be applicable or not. Okay. Answer will be yours. Question will be mine. Case 1. Table A product, 5 crore rupees turnover. Table B product, 10 crore rupees turnover. Table A plus B, 15 crore rupees turnover. Other products, which means products which are not covered under table A or B, they are not covered under table A or B, is 19 crore. 15 plus 19 is 34 crore. Total turnover of the company is 34 crore. You have to give me one word answer. Cost records will be applicable or not. One word answer. Someone says a yes. Now, who's this person who said a yes? It was so quick that I could not see his name. Who's that one person who said a yes? Everyone is saying a no, but there is a Santosh. I have caught you. Santosh. Santosh, I have caught you. Santosh, how a yes? Santosh is saying yes. Rakesh is saying yes. How? Rakesh and Santosh. Now we'll be getting some freebies, getting some goods, some goodies from Santosh and Rakesh. These are the two people who will send all of us some goodies, some sweets, some mithai, something. Guys, overall turnover should be 35 crores or more of the entire company. In this case, the overall turnover is less than 35 crores. Therefore, cost records are not eligible to be prepared. This is irrelevant. This is irrelevant. This is irrelevant. This is irrelevant. What is relevant is point number E. Column number E is relevant. Column number E is less than 35 crores. We don't have to see the individual turnover at all. We have to see the total turnover of the entire company. 34 crores, less than 35 crores. Answer is no. Now, cost audit. Cost audit. Regulated and non-regulated SAI, you will be able to know by the table A and B. Table A is regulated, table B is unregulated. That is how you will be able to know regulated and unregulated. Okay. Cost record, no. Cost audit. Cost audit. But you didn't explore the conditions. How are you saying a no? You didn't explore the conditions. How are you saying a no? Naturally, guys, if cost records is not applicable on a particular company, cost audit will not be eligible automatically. There's no need to test the limits. Okay, sir. Case number 2. Table A, 5 crores. Table B, 10 crores. Table A plus B, 15 crores. Other products, which is non-table A and B. Cost records, eligible or not? More than 35 crores or less than 35 crores? Sir, more than 35 crores, cost records eligible. On what turnover are the cost records eligible? Product A and product B. Not on other products. Cost records will be eligible on table A and table B, not on other products. So yes, cost records eligible. Perfect. Now coming on to cost audit. Cost audit, guys. Cost audit. Table A. Table A, turnover is 50 crores and 25 crores. 50 crores all over. Oh, sir, all over is not 50 crores. So no. And of course, B will also be no, because overall turnover should be 100 crores. So no, no. Perfect. Case 3. My eyes are also on the clock, guys. Therefore, I am rushing a bit. Case 3. 10 crores, 15 crores, 25 crores. A plus B is 25 crores. Other products, 26 crores. Cost records. Yes. Cost audit, product A. Cost audit, product A. Let's see who will give the right answer. Cost audit, product A. Cost audit, product A. Answer is yes. How? 50 crores overall turnover, 25 crores turnover of the products for which cost records are applicable, which is 25 in my case. I will see column number C and not column number A. So answer is yes. Cost audit is yes. Okay. What about B? B is no. Because for cost audit for B, turnover should be 100 crores. Perfect, guys. Now let's come on to case number 4. 0 crores A, B 25 crores. A and B 25 crores. Other 26 crores. Total 51 crores. Cost records. Yes or no? Okay. Cost audit. A. Table A. Cost audit. Table A. 50 crores. 25 crores. 50 crores. 25 crores. Cost audit. Table A. Cost audit. Table A. No yes. What is no yes? Some student has written no yes. Cost audit. Guys, the answer is no. Although the turnover limit is above the prescribed limit for table A, but it's 0. When it's 0, how will you audit? What will you audit when it's 0? So the answer is no. What about B? B total turnover limit should be 100 crores. So answer is no. B is no. Okay, next. Case 5. 20, 14, 34. 75, 109. Cost records. Of course, a yes. Okay. A, product A. Product A audit. Product A audit, 50 crores, 25 crores. Yes. Product A cost audit. Yes. Okay. Product B cost audit, 100 crores, 50 crores. This should have been, 35 crores. This should have been 35 crores. This is 100 crore, which is perfect. It is above 100 crores, but this one is not above 35 crores. So it is a no. I hope you are understanding it. If you're not able to understand, please rewind the video and see it again, because this is a very, very important chart. Point number 6, 20 crores, 20 crores, 40 crores, 61 crore, 101 crore. Cost records, yes or no? Cost records. Cost records. Yes. Cost audit for A, 50 crores, 25 crores. 50 crores, 25 crores. Yes. Cost audit for B. Cost audit for B, 100 crores, 35 crores. 100 crores, 35 crores. Yes. So guys, that is how you understand whether cost records and cost audit are applicable for both these companies or not. And it's a very, very important. Aman Seni says why. Aman Seni, for product B, limit is 100 crores, 100 crores for overall turnover, 35 crores for both the products taken together. Therefore, a yes. I hope you get your answer. Okay. So guys, this is how you analyze the both the limits, and these are very, very important limits from an exam standpoint. Also, you will get practical questions from this particular concept. You will get case study kind of question from this particular concept. And last, which I'm going to give you a very good ticker. So it's like a dessert. Like when we finish our main course and when we finish our soups and the starters and the main course, then we end up with a dessert. Do you all want a dessert? Before we end up this session, do you want a dessert? Yes or no? Icing on the cake, sort of. Do you want a dessert? Do you want an icing on the cake? Okay. This is your icing on the cake. I tell it or I pronounce it as a naughty FAQ. This is a naughty emoji which is in front of you. This is a naughty emoji. Please give me a naughty emoji in the chat room. Please give me a naughty emoji in the chat room. This naughty smile. I want this naughty, cunning, wicked smile in the chat room. All of you. Okay. What is this naughty provision? Naughty provision says that if once any company is eligible for cost audit or cost records, it will be eligible for cost records for end of its life, for its entire year, for the subsequent years. If one time you fall under the net of cost audit and cost records, you will be under the cost audit and cost records for eternity, forever, even if your turnover falls to zero, even if your turnover falls to 1 lakh, 2 lakh, 3 lakh, 4 lakh. Once applicable, always applicable. These records have a effect of being applicable forever. So once your client comes under purview of cost audit and cost records, it will always be under cost audit and cost records. So this is the icing on the cake, which is a beautiful section, which is a naughty provision, which expands scope of cost audit to a very, very large extent. Okay, guys. So that's all for this particular session. Thank you so much for being live with us. And over to ma'am.
Thank you so much, sir. I can see the session was so interactive and we are still receiving so many questions. So it's one of the most interactive sessions that we have had on CA Club India so far. So thank you so much for this amazing session. If somebody wants to ask any question to sir directly, you can turn on your video and sir will be there to answer. Also, sir has a full-fledged course. I'm sharing a link with all of you in the chat box. You can go and check out this link. Also, in previous messages, also I've shared our Telegram and WhatsApp group links. So for more such webinars, absolutely, I get this feedback that Nikhil sir is very interactive. So we'll plan more sessions with him in future as well for everybody, for this amazing response. Anybody who is there to ask any question to sir directly? Okay, so we have one question from you, Rakesh. Is there any need remains for port authorities to have cost records for cost audits?
Yes, still there is a need for port authorities to have their cost audit done if they are falling under the monetary thresholds which are specified under Rule 3 and Rule 4.
Okay, so I think all the questions were asked answered previously only while you were going through the session. Okay, we have one more question from Harish. Is this rule are applicable for December 2020 for CMA Inter?
Absolutely, these rules are applicable for December 2020 and onward attempts. Amendments made till rules 2019 are applicable for your examination, and till date amendments for 2020 are not out yet. 2019 amendments will be applicable for December, both inter and final students of CMA.
Okay, so is there anybody who wants to ask the question to sir directly with the camera on? Okay, we have, meanwhile, we can take this question. Why interest and financial charges taken abridged cost sheet, in abridged cost sheet?
Okay, so the interest and finance charges are taken in the abridged cost sheet. If you notice that it is taken in cost of sales, it is not taken as a part of cost of production. So your question would be that cost accounting standards prohibit us from taking interest and finance charges in our costing structure, but still they appear in the abridged cost sheet. But please note, guys, that portion where it is disclosed as cost of sales, which is the bottom of the cost sheet. Therefore, just for disclosure purposes, just for notification purposes, they are appearing over there, but it doesn't form part of your cost of production.
So we have a few people. Dilip, do you want to ask any question? I'll just unmute you. You can go on with your question.
Hello, sir.
Yes, please.
Hi, Dilip. How are you doing?
Hi, sir. How are you?
Very good. Your face is not visible.
Now, can you see me, sir?
Now, so we cannot see you. Even the part of it is gone. Earlier was the better version.
Dilip, say, turn on your camera, please.
Dilip has unmuted himself. He muted himself. Now he's unmuted.
So he cannot unmute himself. Dilip, if you can turn on your camera, I'll just unmute you. Dilip, can you hear us? Okay, is there anyone else who wants to come on screen? Meanwhile, Dilip is starting off his camera. Dilip, we can see you, Dilip.
Sir, just explain us how to conduct the cost audit. I am a CMA final student. I don't have that much exposure to how to conduct the cost audit practically. I did an internal audit and balance sheets and financial audit, statutory and internal audit and all, but I don't have that much exposure in cost audit. How to start a cost audit? We have a theoretical exposure and we studying, but that much of, and I'm not have that much exposure into how to start a cost audit. And practically, if I went to the industries, some companies, I don't know where to conduct or what kind of reports we need to prepare for the cost audit.
So Dilip, to start a cost audit, you have to first of all refer to form number CRA1 and form number CRA3. These are the two forms which you first have to read it out. Read them out thoroughly, because these two forms contain the basics of cost sheet and how are the cost statements to be prepared by any company. Once you read both these forms, form CRA1 and CRA3, you will be able to understand that what are the elements which you need to look at in the cost sheet. So just like you have done stat audit, you have done tax audit, you have done intern before, they also have standards, they also have some disclosure requirements, they also have some notes requirements. Similarly, we have requirements, we have presentation requirements, we have notes to accounts requirements for our cost sheet. So soon as you read form number CRA1 and form number CRA3, you will be able to understand what all should you do while conducting a cost audit. Apart from that, you should also read cost accounting standards from 1 to 24. Just like we have accounting standards in accounts, we have cost accounting standards in cost audit. They will be able to tell you which all expenditures should be included in direct material cost, which all expenditure should be included in labor cost, while allocating the administrative overheads, how to allocate the administrative overhead, what keys to be used, what are the absorption rates which are to be used. All these things will be discussed in detail in cost accounting standards. So read these three things: CRA1, CRA3 along with its annexures, and the cost accounting standards, and you will be able to understand the entire concept very well.
I hope, Dilip, that clears your doubt. You have muted yourself again. So I hope that that clears your doubt, Dilip. You can just reply in the chat box if you cannot unmute yourself. Okay, so we'll just, yes, Nikhil sir, I hope he's on LinkedIn and Instagram. In the post that we have mentioned on all our social media, we'll tag him there. You can reach out to him there. He's also provided his number with us. He's also on YouTube, so you can go and check out his YouTube for the more information. And somebody was asking that, sir, can you please take this class for CA Foundation Accountancy too? So, sir, can you?
Or I can. Accounting is my core area, so of course I'll be happy to take classes for CA Foundation as well. Some live sessions for CA Foundation, I don't mind that.
Absolutely. Then again, so you'll see sir again very soon in our session. I see a lot of questions, so I would request, because we are short on time, we'll take these questions in the next session. Or what you can do is you can go on our social media and write in these questions. We can ask sir and we can reply back. As far as this video is concerned, this video will be available on our YouTube channel and on sir's YouTube as well. We are gone live on our Facebook, CA Club India's Facebook channel and sir's Facebook channel. So if you want to see this video in the real time right now after this session, you can go check sir's Facebook channel or CA Club India's Facebook channel and see this video. Regarding the PDF will be shared in the files of CA Club India, and it will be updated in the WhatsApp message group that we have for the students. I'm sending the WhatsApp and Telegram groups link to everybody. You can go and join the WhatsApp group and the Telegram group for more knowledge. And for such sessions, we have our webinar page on CA Club India. You can go and check it out there. Thank you so much, sir, for coming on this platform and giving this opportunity to host you. Over to you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. CA Club India has always been a trusted partner and has always been a person whom I have always banged upon. And yes, guys, now please stay tuned on this particular channel, because CA Club India is bringing you a lot of faculties from all over India. Best or in class, and Corona, the pandemic, has given us an opportunity to meet, to interact with the best of the country. Earlier, you used to interact with the best of your state. So who's the best teacher of accounts in Delhi? This is how you used to think. Now you think, who's the best teacher of accounts in India? That is how you think. So it has broadened our horizon. So this is just like a blessing in disguise. Stay tuned with CA Club India. And yes, we'll be coming up with more sessions for all of you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much, sir.
Bye. Thank you.